Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to write a book step by step. Everything big involves a process. Buying a house, a big project at work. Writing a book is no different. It's easy to jump into book writing without a real focus, without a real understanding, and find yourself lost along the way. I don't want that to happen to you all. I want you to be empowered, and I want you to stay on the right path with your book. If you've tried to write a book before, you're just hitting a rough patch along the way, I feel like the tips in this video are going to be really helpful for you. By the end of this video, you will learn how to do your homework before you write your book, how to set the right foundation, and how to keep going when you hit roadblocks. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. When thinking about writing your book in step-by-step processes, the first thing I want you to do is figure out your why. Why are you writing this book? Why do you want to do this hard thing? Writing a book is so difficult and so challenging. If there's any doubt for you, if there's anything that's making you hesitant or skeptical, you're going to want to quit this book. At some point, you're going to want to give up. You really need to understand your why and make sure it's as strong as possible. I want you to be so brutally honest with yourself about why you want to write a book, because if you don't figure that out, you're going to want to give up at some point along the process. But if you have that why locked in, it's going to motivate you to keep going when you hit those doldrums, when you hit those rough patches, when life happens and something creeps in and you're going to want to, put this thing aside, you're going to want to pick it up again. I don't want you to fully set it aside. I want you to maybe take a couple weeks off and come back to it renewed, inspired, motivated. So if you figure out your why at the beginning of this process, it's going to make everything else easier and it's going to keep you motivated even during the hard times. The next thing I want you to think about is your what. What do you want to write? What do you want to write about and how does it connect to your why? If you want to be a successful CEO in a certain space, you're going to want to write a book in that space. You don't want to just write some other book that isn't connected to the thing that you want to accomplish. So these things have to work together, but you ultimately have to figure out what the topic is. And you really have to think about what other books are in this space. I lean on and talk about Atomic Habits by James Clear pretty regularly. It's an amazing book. There's a reason why 20 million copies of that book have been sold. There's a reason why people keep talking about it and giving it to people and sharing it, because it's transformative and it's impactful and it's a leading book in that space. If you're interested in writing a book about habits, you really need to think about how your book is different than Atomic Habits, because by default, people are going to just want to read Atomic Habits. So how is your book better than that? How is it different? How does it cover a blind spot or a missed opportunity that Atomic Habits doesn't cover? If it's not different in any way, if your book doesn't stand out, it's not going to gain traction, it's not going to become popular. And I'm not saying popularity needs to be the end goal, but you really want to write something that feels different than any other book out there. Your book is unique. It's like a thumbprint. It is unique to you, and you really need to figure out why your book is unique, why it's different than every other book that's ever been written. Once you've locked those elements into place, before you really start the writing process, I want you to figure out your book's foundation. When I talk about foundation, there's really three elements I want you to think about. The first is your hook, which is your reader takeaway and the thing that they're going to carry forward with them into their lives after they read your book. This is really kind of what you want to see people write in their reviews online of the book. This book inspired me, it changed my life, it helped me rethink this and that. You want them to be able to succinctly understand what this book is about and the takeaway from it. Because if you can't do that, you failed. You failed the reader and you failed yourself. If you can't really burrow down on what this book is about and how it benefits someone and how they're going to carry forward in one sentence, one single sentence, your book is really going to struggle. So you need to figure out that piece. The next piece you need to figure out is audience. Who is your book for? When you think about publishing your book and bringing it forward into the world, how are you going to promote it? Who are you going to ship it to? Who are you going to send it to? Who are you going to share it with? Hey, if you like this thing, I really think you're going to like this book. You really need to figure out what audience this book is for. What's their age level? What's their education level? What careers might they have? What hobbies might they have? Why might they be interested in reading this book? what other books would they have read that they would want to read yours as well in tandem. So really tapping into the audience is huge. And that's going to help you in the promotion side too, because then you're going to be able to market it to the right places. The next element is outline. You want the reader to keep reading once they pick up your book. You want them to keep going, and you need to arrange and organize the book in a very clear and straightforward and easy manner that's going to motivate them to keep going. You don't want them to put it down and say, I'm lost or confused or I don't care about this book anymore. You want them to keep going, so you need to carry forward from chapter to chapter, with the right momentum from one chapter to the next, with the right transitions from one chapter to the next. You want the reader not to be able to put this book down. You want a book that's unputdownable, if that's the way to describe it. And you can do that by really understanding what your outline is, connecting it to all these other pieces, and then figuring out the way to transition from one chapter to the next chapter in a way that's going to leave a hook, in a way that's going to keep the reader hooked, that keeps the reader wanting to keep going. Oh my gosh, the cliffhanger. What's going to happen next? You want them to understand what's going to happen next, or what am I going to learn next, and be so drawn in by that they can't put this book down. Now we're at the stage of writing, actually putting words down. I know this is why you started watching this video, and you're probably thrown off by all this front matter and throat clearing and all this other stuff, but it's really going to help to set a course for you during the writing process. Think about just aimlessly writing and seeing where you get, and thinking about actually having a destination, having an understanding of what you're doing, who you're focused on, what your book is about. All these parameters are going to create guardrails, in a sense, that allow you to keep from going off and getting lost. It's so important to have these elements in place, and it's so important to carry them forward as you get to the writing process. The writing process can come through in so many different ways. Maybe you're pen to paper. Maybe you're sitting at the coffee shop writing away. Maybe you're typing away at your keyboard. Maybe you're using voice-to-text transcription and talking into a recorder and using that audio and turning it into automatic words through transcription. I love that element. I use it all the time in my writing and when I'm working with other people on their book. It is a great way to make fast progress. And if you're somebody who loves telling stories verbally as opposed to writing them out, voice-to-text transcription is a great way to do so. It's really about unlocking how you get work done and how you do your best writing. Every single project is different. Every single author is different. And it's really about unlocking your best way of getting the words onto the page. And ultimately, this is really about making consistent progress, making a commitment every single week, every single month, every single day to making progress. Yes, life is busy. Yes, we have other things going on. But it's so important for you to keep going with it, to stay connected to it, to make that commitment every single day. If it's 10 to 20 minutes that you're doing writing, great. Just focus on making those the best 10 to 20 minutes you can. Don't worry about spending hour after hour on it. Just make 10 to 20 minutes count for you. If you end up writing 275 words a day, every single day, within a year's time, you're going to have 100,000 words written. So it's one of those things where if you're thinking about 275 words, that's not that much, but if you keep doing it day after day after day, you're going to be able to make progress and keep going and actually finish your draft. It's all going to come into focus, but it requires consistency. The last thing I want you to think about is to keep going and not give up. It is so easy to get overwhelmed during the writing process and to want to give up, to walk away from this, to put it aside. You probably have the best intentions in mind. I'm going to pick the book back up when, work slows down, when the personal issues, fade out. A lot of times we end up losing momentum during those rough patches, and then we never come back to it. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to, have this book be this unfinished thing, unfinished business. I want you to be able to commit yourself to this, to make all the progress in the world, to stay devoted to it, to keep going, because the rewards are massive. If you can finish your book and publish an awesome book, and I'm not talking about just monetary rewards, I'm talking about the inner goals that we have for ourselves, doing the hard thing and accomplishing something awesome. This book really can change your life if you finish it. But you need to finish it. You need to keep going. It's not enough just to want to write a book. There's so many books that have been wanted to be written, and the authors have all this momentum and all this enthusiasm, and it just fades out, and that's it. I don't want that to happen to you. I want to hear about this successful book that you finished. I want to hear about you finishing this thing and committing to it and doing this thing you thought was impossible. It's possible. It's 100% possible, and you can do it if you just keep going and don't give up. If you want to learn more about how to write a book step by step, I'd love for you to check out a course that I developed, a writing course devoted to helping authors just like you. It's my Good Book Accountability course, and the website is goodbookmastery.com. You can click the link below and check it out. We meet weekly, we talk through the issues we're facing. I provide tips and insight and guidance. It's just really great to have that community aspect to the book writing process because I know how lonely book writing can be. And I just wanted to make it a little less lonely and a little more empowering. So if you're interested in learning more about my writing course and thinking about this weekly touch point, go to goodbookmastery.com. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.